Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to NoDQ&A live here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRift NoDQ. As I do every so often, I will be answering your questions via Skype. You can call in. Also, I will be answering your questions from twitter.com/AaronRift. And of course, you can send in super chat. Now, if you send in at least $5, you will officially become the new No DQ super chat champion. The current champion coming into tonight's live stream is Hamp Connell. So we'll see how long Hamp can hold on to that championship. Now, let's go ahead and get started with your questions. I do want to get to twitter.com/AaronRift from the questions that I have on there. First one comes from Mr. Yuck, and he wants to know about Damien Sandow. He asked me, do you have any idea what Damien Sandow is currently doing? Are there any former stars who didn't quite reach the top of the ladder or failed to cash in on the fame rocket who could make a comeback in WWE, like Chris Masters, Johnny Nitro, and so forth? And by the way, shout out to everybody in the chat room for tuning in. Please spread the word. Share this link on Facebook, Twitter, anywhere you can to help increase the viewership. I would really appreciate that. Damien Sandow is not in TNA/Impact Wrestling. He hasn't been for a while, so he hasn't really done anything in the past few years. He basically retired. After he left TNA, he was there. What was his name? Aaron something. He had this really terrible name, which I don't even remember. It was some awful name. And he pretty much retired. I'm not sure if he went into acting or if he did something else. Aaron Rex. Thank you for that, Jeremy Dorset. It's just a real shame about him because he really shined in WWE when he was doing the heel Damien Sandow gimmick. And even when he became the Miz's sidekick, he was doing some great stuff. He was really making the most of a role that really wasn't going to go very far. And I feel bad for the guy that after losing his Money in the Bank cash in to John Cena, his career pretty much stalled. And he never regained that momentum. Now, as far as which guys could potentially make a comeback, I think a John Morrison is a guy that could always come back to WWE and go right back into the mix of things and be a major star there. There's a whole crop of guys that Johnny Nitro, John Morrison, whatever you want to call him, there's a whole new crop of guys that he can work with and have great matches with. So he could easily fit in. Chris Masters, I don't think so. Looking at some of the other guys that left WWE, if things ever worked out, Austin Aries, of course, I think could do well. Neville could do well if they were given significant pushes and allowed to be part of Raw or SmackDown. I think those guys could definitely succeed. But again, would WWE bring those guys back? Would they be happy? Would they be satisfied with their roles? But those guys, no doubt, have the talent to succeed in WWE if the cards fell into place. Now, at this point, I am going to open up Skype, so I will be taking calls. Keep in mind, if you have never called in before, please email me first, nodqrift@gmail.com with your Skype information and your location and all that stuff. It's just a little bit of me doing a screening process since we do have occasional trolls, and I want to make sure that the people calling in are calling in for the right reason to legitimately ask a question and not fool around. So feel free to call in on Skype, NoDQ_Rift. Let me see here. Christopher Mace is calling in, so I will answer Chris's question first. Whoa, that's loud. Okay, Chris, if you're listening to me right now, make sure you get that volume taken care of. Chris, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm here. Everything sounds okay now. For a moment, it was extremely loud. So what's on your mind, Chris?
Oh, nothing too much. My question for you is, what do you see? How do you see so far everything going with Raw and SmackDown? We've seen the slight changes a little bit, the middle finger and all that kind of stuff. But what real major significant changes do you see they need to do to Raw and SmackDown to make it work and get those ratings up on a more consistent level and more consistent basis?
Great question. So first and foremost, I want the writing to make sense, and I want there to be week-to-week storylines. I want WWE to not give up on storylines. I want them to play out. I want the storylines to actually have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So that's one thing. Another thing is I would like to see more unpredictability with the storylines. Like, I want Raw and SmackDown every week to be must-see TV where you tune in and you're expecting the unexpected, and there are surprises on the show. And I'd like to see more people being used and being used in ways where they can actually contribute to the show, not just where Shelton Benjamin's randomly looking around the room. By the way, there's some really bad noise there, so I'm going to have to mute you here for a second. So there's a lot of different things. It's not just having edgy material that's going to cut it. You've got to have consistent storylines. You have to develop the characters, give them a chance to shine, and just have some creativity and make the shows a little bit more unpredictable. So it's a combination of all that that I think they really need for the shows to succeed long term. And then, of course, I feel like Raw and SmackDown need to have some differences as far as the presentation goes. Raw and SmackDown, how hard is it for them to have just a little bit of differences as far as like the way the shows are shot with the camera angles, the lighting, the way the video packages are produced? There's lots of little things you can do to make Raw different from SmackDown and have them have different feels. So to me, it's not rocket science. You would think that this would be something that's a no-brainer and they could easily pull off. But anyways, Chris, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, thank you so much for the call. Anything you would like to plug or promote?
I just want everybody to support NoDQ.com, support Aftermatch Wrestling, the Simple Man No Imposter, because 205 Live does matter, and support the Chopping Block, and support Cindy and the whole NXT team for all the hard work they do, and support y'all for all the hard work y'all do, and hope everybody has a good July 4th weekend pretty much. So you have a good one, Aaron.
All right, thank you. You too, Chris. Take care.
You too.
All right, that was Chris Mace calling in, our first caller of the evening. A few other people tried calling in, so again, please be patient. If I'm not able to answer your call right away, I will try to get to as many people as possible. All right, Mike Nixon is calling in. Let's answer Mike's call. Mike, how's it going?
How's it going, Aaron? How you doing?
I'm doing really well, enjoying the 4th of July weekend, although it's weird because it was Thursday, 4th of July fell on this year, and we still have the weekend. Today's a regular business day, so kind of strange, but I know a lot of people tend to just take off Friday anyways, but not me. I'm here doing this. So what's on your mind, Mike?
So I wanted to talk a little bit about Bray Wyatt and the idea to bring him back into return.
Okay.
My thing is this is how I would present to bring back Bray Wyatt. You can not bring him back right away. Wait till SummerSlam. Now that you did the Firefly Funhouse, I say you go into a little bit more of vignette and you get introduced to an insane asylum. And then you get, each week, you get a different tour of different characters inside that insane asylum. Like you can have a guy named Husker, like you had Huskers the pig. You have a crazy girl Abby in there, a crazy guy named Buzzard, and then finally we get the Bray Wyatt, and then the person to let him out of that insane asylum, who's giving the tour, but you don't know it just yet until they open the door, is Luke Harper, and you bring them both back together.
I like the idea of bringing Harper back in that fashion. Yeah, I think it would be interesting, although I feel like at some point you got to stop with the vignettes and you got to actually get him appearing before the live crowd and doing stuff like that. But I do like the idea, and I do like the idea of somehow getting Luke Harper back into this and having them be together. But sadly, I feel like we've probably seen the last of Luke Harper in WWE. I really hate to say it, but I feel like he's not coming back. I think once he's gone, WWE's attitude is like, well, we got 100 other people that want your spot, so it's been nice knowing you, and that's the end of it. But anyways, Thank you for that, Mike. I think that I'd like to see Bray Wyatt get back in the ring and not necessarily like wrestle in matches, but maybe appear in the crowd, maybe do a run-in, like just various things where he's making his presence felt instead of doing vignettes. But again, I do like your idea. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the call. I got to get to another call here. Anything you would like to plug or promote?
Nothing to plug and promote, but I just want to say keep up the great work with all your content, and yeah, just keep it up.
All right, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
No problem, man. Have a good one.
All right, thank you. Take care. All right, that was Mike Nixon. Big Shrimp, I think I just missed your call, so if you want to try to call me back, I will answer that. Big Shrimp's been trying to call in, so I apologize, Mike. I know I just pretty much let you go there. I know you had more to say, but I do want to get to these other callers. Big Shrimp was trying like 3 times. Big Shrimp, if you're there, feel free to call in. In the meantime, I will get to the next question I have here from the Natural Cody. He says, thoughts on Paul Heyman becoming executive creative director for Raw and Eazy-E being named the same for SmackDown? It feels like a cheap hot shot to bring back the fans who miss ECW and WCW. Your thoughts? I do agree on that. I mean, I have spoken about my opinion on this move, and I do feel like it is a little bit of a desperate act by WWE. I'm not sure Vince really knows anything else other than to go back to the past. And on one hand, Paul Heyman has a lot of great ideas, and I'm sure Bischoff has some good ideas, and he might be very motivated to succeed here, and that could bring out the best in Eric Bischoff. I brought up my concerns with both of them, in particular Eric Bischoff, just because his track record post-1998 isn't all that impressive. But I feel like WWE, at the end of the day, needs some new ideas, and just relying on, we're bringing back the past from WCW and ECW, I don't think that's going to cut it long term. I think you need some fresh ideas and new concepts and some new creative minds. As great as Paul Heyman is, I'm not sure if he's the answer to WWE's problems. And then, of course, there's the whole issue with Vince. Is Vince really going to let these guys have control? As I mentioned in previous videos, if the answer is yes, then I think that these guys will have a real chance of succeeding. If Vince is just going to overturn all their decisions, then I really don't see it going very far. Thank you very much for the question, Cody. I'm not sure what happened to Big Shrimp. He did try to call in, but I will leave this open if Big Shrimp or anybody else wants to call in. Again, nodqrift@gmail.com. And again, please stick to one question if you are calling in, because I do want to try to get everyone a chance to call in. And then maybe at the end, if you did call in previously and you had another question, I could take your call later at the end of the video. Now, Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. He's the first super chatter of the night. Thank you for that, Psycho, who is a former No DQ Super Chat champion. However, right now, the current reigning and defending champion is Hamp Connell. So Psycho Jet Black wants to know, is TGS's love for EC3 a work or a shoot? I would say it's a shoot, but I could be working you. You'll never know on that. EC3, I mean, the guy is chiseled like a Greek god. What else can I say? All right, Big Shrimp is calling now, so let's go ahead and answer this. Big Shrimp, how's it going? You there?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How's it going?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for calling in, and thank you for your patience. I know you were trying a couple of times there, so what's on your mind?
I was wondering, I don't know if you've heard people like Jim Cornette's recent criticisms of AEW's spot, what they call spot monkeys or spot fest with the Young Bucks and Kenny. And I'm just curious to know what your take is. I feel like the business has always evolved. Obviously, if you look at wrestling from the 20s to the 40s to the 80s, even up to the Attitude Era to now, it's always evolved. It's never stayed the same. And do you think that these are old timers that are failing to accept the evolution of wrestling, or is it a bit much when it's move, and no drama and no selling or storytelling? What are your takes on that?
Well, that's a great question. First of all, I think that Jim Cornette is very entertaining, And you have to keep in mind that he will say things that he knows is going to get a reaction out of people. So he will be controversial. He will talk a lot of smack because he knows it's going to bring viewers to his channel, and that's, you know, what he's doing with his time, and he wants as many viewers as possible. So of course he's going to naturally say things that he knows will generate a buzz. Now I think he does make some valid points, but at the same time, like you said, wrestling is evolving and nothing stays the same, and you cannot just use the 1980s template of what works in 2019. We're just in a different era, and everything has changed. Technology has changed. Society has changed. So yeah, you got to adapt with the times. So I feel like on one hand, Cornette is probably very much out of touch, but at the same time, it does make sense because wrestling is all about suspending disbelief, and I think that when you have guys just doing so many moves and nobody's selling, it hurts that suspension of disbelief. Yeah, it's a great show. It's a stunt show, but you know, people, I think for the most part, most fans want to be able to watch and suspend disbelief and not be having it thrown in their face that what they're watching is scripted. I think they want to be able to watch and say, yeah, this could happen in real life. And it's almost like what the Young Bucks are doing. It's like the Michael Bay of wrestling with tons of special effects and just all these over-the-top antics. But it's not really all that realistic when you think about it. Just the fact that these guys can do all this stuff and nobody's selling and whatnot. But hey, it works. It's working so far, and time will tell if it works long term. If they can succeed on TNT and they can do this stuff and draw in people, then it works. There's still a lot of question marks as to how much it can work. Can it work beyond a core audience, a cult audience, so to speak? That remains to be seen. I think the jury is still out on that one.
Yeah, that's my concern. I'm worried that I love AEW, but I'm worried that right now it's a majority hardcore cult following, and I wonder if they can expand beyond that. But yeah, you know, what I'm getting from AEW so far is that it's really a variety show. You got some comedy, you got some crazy spot fest type stuff, and you have good psychology and storytelling like we had with Dustin and Cody.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of hardcore. So I think they're doing a fine job as far as that is concerned. They're trying to appeal to a little bit of everybody.
And I love that.
From what I can tell.
I think it's great. I think it's a great concept. I think it's good to have variety and not have the same thing over and over again. Change things up, have different styles, and yeah, I love the variety concept. Anyways, thank you so much for the call. Anything you would like to plug or promote?
Thank you. And yes, Big Shrimp Entertainment on Instagram and Facebook. I'm doing a podcast under the guise of Big Shrimp Radio. It's on iTunes and SoundCloud. I've got a producer named Dylan Hodge. Last night we did an episode on State of the Business. We shouted you out, Aaron, and shouted out NoDQ, and that episode will be dropping hopefully on Monday or Tuesday.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the call. I really do appreciate it. Have a great night, my friend.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care. All right, that was Big Shrimp Entertainment calling in. I would like to get to the next question here from Alistair Keffer. He says, hey, Aaron, I heard that Christopher Daniels was supposed to be the higher power. Do you think it would have been a better storyline, or was McMahon being reviewed better? That's an interesting question. So I did hear those rumors back in the day, and I'm not sure how serious WWE was about that as far as bringing in somebody who wasn't already established in the company. Daniels was relatively new to the business at the time. So I don't know if WWE was seriously going to use him. And I mean, they never really brought him in. He did a few dark matches here and there, but WWE ultimately never brought him in for like a legitimate run with the company. Daniels might be one of the biggest names to never get that opportunity in WWE. I don't know if it would have been better or not. It's really hard to say with these what if questions. because I think like a lot of casual fans would have been like, huh, who's this? You know, that they were building up to this big surprise. And I think it was really important for it to be a major star, because if it was somebody nobody knew, I think the people would have just been like, what? And it would have been a letdown. But then again, people think Vince was a letdown. So sometimes it's hard to please everybody, and you got to just take a chance with it. So yeah, it's really hard to say. Anyways, Sun Goshiku, did I pronounce that right or did I botch it?
Oh, I think that's the I've ever said it.
Anyways, how's it going, my friend?
Hey, doing good. Just got off of work and got a notification that you were live streaming. So perfect timing.
Rock on. So what's on your mind?
Yeah, I want to ask you a question. Do you think certain, I guess I say nicknames or catchphrases might require too much explanation for a non-wrestling fan or even casual viewer? The examples I have of this, when I was watching WrestleMania this past WrestleMania with my friends, when Becky came out, one of my friends, her godmother, she came out. She's like, why does she call herself the Man? So I had to break down the entire history of how WWE treated women and why it's really a figurative thing, saying that now she's the top star. And another one was one of my friends, we were joking, said, do you eat the bootios? She was like, what? Bootios? I'm like, well, see, the New Day, they have this thing, it's called Booty-O's like cereal. What do you think?
Well, first of all, before I answer that question, Psycho Jet Black just sent in a $2 super chat and said, who's your favorite American male? Well, I got to go with Buff, of course, Buff the Stuff, but what do you think? Who would be your pick?
Favorite, what was the question again?
Favorite American male.
Favorite American male wrestler in just general?
He's actually talking about the tag team, I think, but you could name anybody, I guess.
I probably went over my head then, way over my head. I just exposed some of my lack of knowledge there.
Well, go look up on YouTube the American Males WCW theme song. When you're done with this call, you'll get a kick out of that song. So anyways, to answer your question, I think it depends on the phrase. Like, I could understand like a random person hearing Becky Lynch being called the Man and they're like, what? So yeah, if they're not in the loop with the storylines, then they would need to be filled in on it. But I feel like it's not that big of a deal unless WWE doesn't do a good enough job explaining the nicknames. I guess they do. I mean, with Becky Lynch, you would have to be following the storylines to see it evolve. But I think with like everyone else, like the Bootios, you can just say, well, that's the thing that the New Day does. They're known for doing their over the top antics with all the wacky catchphrases and whatnot. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think WWE has done far worse things over the years that have been really confusing to people. You know, a lot of the worked shoots, you know, try explaining those to people. Like when CM Punk starts referencing Ring of Honor, like that's going to throw off your casual fans. Like then you're going to have to explain a whole lot of information to those fans when they have no idea what Ring of Honor is. Or like when Vince Russo would do all these inside references that only like 5% of the viewing audience would understand. That's a lot worse. Like the Man, you can just say, well, Becky Lynch, she's such an ass kicker. She thinks she could beat up the guys, so therefore she considers herself to be the Man. So I don't think it's that big of a deal compared to some of the other stuff we've seen in storylines. But anyways, Josh, thank you so much for your call. Anything you would like to plug or promote?
Yeah, I was going to say, I was just wondering, because I know, like, when I used to say, like Austin's a Texas rattlesnake, people would be like, oh, he's from Texas, or The Rock's a Brahma Bull, because he has the tattoo. But, yeah, you make some good points. And as far as plugging, check out my YouTube, youtube.com/SunGoshuku, SONGOSHUAKU. I'm botching my own name there. I have my short film, Battle Deception. Trailer's up, so go ahead and check it out. Aaron, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
All right, thank you so much for calling. Have a great night, my friend.
You too.
All right, take care. Bye. All right, Stefan, I know you tried to call in. We're going to try to get Stefan Osborne on. Stefan, if you're listening to this, Skype is open now. Carlos Gomez, former NoDQ Super Chat champion, sent in a $2 Super Chat. He says, what's up, NoDQ fam? How's it going, Carlos? I'm surprised you didn't send in 5 to win back your championship, which is currently still held by Hamp. Stefan, how's it going?
How's it going, man?
It's going good. I know you've been trying to call in the last couple live streams, and I always seem to miss you, so I'm glad I was able to get you on this time.
Yeah, it usually ends up some point during that hour, I'll have a break at work, and then I'll try calling in during my break, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, you know?
Right, yeah, so just that it worked out this time. So anyways, what's on your mind?
Well, I wanted to talk about this leaving the PG era behind, this new era of WWE, and I think it's a great idea 10 years ago.
All
10
right.
years ago, this might have saved the company. They skipped right past the next generation mark, and they forgot to move their content up to grow with their audience. Because you got to think it's been, 15, 20 years since they started taking the level of, let's say, R-ratedness or TVMA ratedness down. They started going for a family audience about 15, 20 years ago. Well, they didn't bother growing with the audience, so you get a bunch of kids hooked on wrestling when they're, let's say they're around 10 or 13 years old, but then now they're 20 or 23 years old, and it's still being written for a bunch of kids.
Right.
So I just think it's way too late. They've already lost so much of their audience, and they might get back a little bit. I think that's why they announced that Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff were taking over Raw and SmackDown respectively. They're trying to get that announcement out there to people so that hopefully they tune in, but it's just too late. What do you think?
Well, I think that's a good point. I mean, I think like a lot of the fans that are tuning into AEW, they're those fans that have been waiting for that edgier product, and maybe they were kids, 10, 15 years ago when WWE was starting to move in that direction. So I think WWE does see some potential growth for that viewership, even if it may be a few years off. And what's interesting about all this is I think if AEW did not become a thing and started gaining momentum, I don't know if WWE would have ever gotten rid of the PG rating. I think they're only doing this now because just like with WCW, they're pretty much being forced to change with the times. AEW is gaining some real momentum. They drew a bigger crowd in one show than anything TNA did in its entire existence. And yeah, they got this TNT deal. This is all unprecedented. And I think WWE, they definitely see AEW as a threat as far as getting into their market share and taking away those teenage. I mean, WWE is really looking for those teenage viewers, and that's where they're hoping with Paul Heyman coming in and doing the middle finger and doing all that stuff that they can boost up the teenage viewership. I think that's what they're really looking for at this point. Time will tell if they can do it or not. Again, this is all unprecedented. We're in uncharted waters with all this. You could say this is like the beginning of the Monday Night War with WCW, but this could be a totally different thing of its own. I mean, we're just going to have to wait. And that's what's fun about it is we don't know where this is going, and it's an exciting time to be a fan to see how this all plays out.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. The catalyst here is AEW. I think what it took was for somebody to sit down and ask the question, where did all those viewers come from?
Right.
Because it's hard to put a precedent on them getting the numbers that they already have, considering what you would think the wrestling viewership would be right now. And I think somebody told Vince or told somebody that these are viewers that used to love wrestling that are jaded, because every time they come back to WWE to see if wrestling has gotten any better,
right,
they're greeted with the same bull stuff.
Oh, well, it is what it is.
And I don't think this is going to end up being another Monday Night War, although I think it's going to be just as heavy. It's a different era. So back then, you only had cable and you only had wrestling on whatever channel on whatever night, unless you had a VCR.
Right.
You could tape some shit. Now you can watch this stuff anytime. So them being on Tuesday night is great because all of the people that are like, screw Monday Night Raw watching it live, that's, an hour's worth of, or 40 minutes worth of commercial, 40 minutes to an hour's worth of commercial.
Yeah.
Screw that. I'm just going to wait till Tuesday and then watch what's good. Well, what comes on Tuesday? AEW comes on Tuesday.
Well, it might be Wednesday.
For that.
Yeah, AEW might be on Wednesday.
Well, I was just going by the Tuesday Night Dynamite.
Yeah, they actually got the trademark for Wednesday night Dynamite recently, so I think they're actually going to go with Wednesday instead, because Tuesday they air all the NBA games, and I think that the idea is you don't want to get preempted all the time.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they're going to be going up against NXT. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, I'm sure AEW is worried about NXT. I don't think they care about NXT at this point. If anything, I think it may hurt NXT. I wonder if WWE will change plans with NXT, maybe have the show go live every now and then, or do something. That'll be interesting to see if AEW does go on Wednesday.
I think one of the strengths of NXT right now and NXT UK is that they are not live. They have time to edit these shows and put on the best hour that they can.
Yeah, I mean,
so I think
there's different ways to look at it. Like for me, I always enjoyed wrestling as a live show. Like, to me, when it's live, anything can happen, and that atmosphere makes it more intriguing to me. But I mean, you make a good point too. When it's taped and airs on a couple of days after the fact, like, they can edit it, fix it up, and make it a little bit more smoother of a show. So yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to it.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but I used to read on NoDQ.com all the time about SmackDown when it was preempted or when it was aired on tape, and you would talk about, or you would post news about botches, specific botches that got redone in the ring, and then obviously when we watch it on Thursday night or Friday night, whatever, are going to be edited out of the match. When you can remove that kind of stuff from the content, it helps. It really does. And maybe that's better for NXT because you've got a lot of guys that are green. So I don't think NXT going live would be such a great thing. As a matter of fact, I think 205 would be better off if they weren't live. I think they would be better off at Full Sail, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a very valid point there. Bruce Banner says leaks would kill taped shows on TV. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, too. We are in a different era now where spoilers get out, and that can affect the shows. Oh, by the way, real quick, Psycho Jet Black just sent in a $5 super chat. So Psycho Jet Black is officially the new reigning and defending No DQ super chat champion. And he says, and PJB has come back to return to No DQ. Congratulations to Psycho Jet Black. And thank you, Stefan, for calling in. Anything you would like to plug or promote?
Yeah, check out What's NXT and the NXT party for this week. They both went up today. NXT party is for episode number 50. Unprecedented. 50 of NXT
episodes.
UK. So check out me and Jerry Slaughter in the NXT party. You can find me on Twitter at nodq.com/Stefan. That's STEFAN. Or if you just want to look me up on Twitter, it's at Stefan R. Osborne, OSBORNE. As always, the R stands for restricted. And you can also find my partner, the General, Jerry Slaughter, on Twitter at NoDQ General. And Facebook, you can find us on Armbar. That's all caps, ARMBAR, exclamation point.
All right. Thank you so much for calling, Steph. Have a great night, my friend.
All right. Thanks, Aaron. You too, man.
All right. Take care. All right. That was Stefan calling in. Carlos Gomez, former No DQ Super Chat champion, says, so is TV 14 legit or just a promise in disguise? That remains to be seen. I mean, a few people pointed this out, and I think it's a very accurate thing to say. WWE still has a lot of corporate sponsors, and they are a publicly traded company. So I don't think WWE is ever going to go back to as edgy as it was during the Attitude Era. And like I said before, I think it's okay that way. I think it's okay if WWE drops a profanity bomb every now and then, maybe has somebody flip somebody off. If you do that every once in a while, it has more of an impact. If you do it every single week, it gets old really fast. So I don't see the problem in doing it in moderation. And I think that's what WWE is going to do. I think they're going to push the envelope a little bit, but not to the point where the sponsors just get fed up and WWE puts themselves at too much risk of losing those sponsors. So it's all about being strategic and picking the right times to do it. So thank you for that, Carlos. And again, congratulations to Psycho Jet Black for being our brand new No DQ Super Chat champion of the world. I do want to get to a few more questions here. This one comes from Zane Johnson, the Schlock. The Schlock says, WWE should have one pay-per-view every month. That way more build-up, or one pay-per-view every other month. Let me rephrase that. He meant every other month. That way more build-up for stories and maybe more logic. What do you say? I'm not really a fan of that, just because I feel like when there's a pay-per-view every other month, WWE gets even lazier than they do with storylines, and they drag things out more, and they still don't build up pay-per-views until like 2 weeks beforehand. I think once a month, it keeps WWE disciplined. You know, they got a pay-per-view 4 weeks. They got to keep the storylines moving. So for that reason, I say keep it the way it is. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Whenever there's like a 6-week gap, I feel like WWE doesn't start doing anything interesting until like 2 weeks before the show. So for those first 4 weeks, you basically got nothing going on. And yeah, I'm not really a fan of the every other month. I think it's too much when they do 2 a month. All right, we got Dylan calling in. Dylan, how's it going?
Hey, Aaron, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. What's on your mind, my friend?
Oh, well, I'm just calling because tomorrow I'm going to go to the night one of G1 Climax 29 in Dallas.
All right, sounds good.
So
you get to see John Moxley, right?
Sorry?
You get to see John Moxley, right?
No, unfortunately.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, that's... So he's not allowed to wrestle for New Japan in the United States. I forgot he got pulled from that.
Yeah, that's what I've read. He's in the so they kind of had to put him in the B block of the tournament. So he won't be in Dallas tomorrow at all. It'll be the A block participants as well as the prelim tag team matches.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I'm sure you'll still have a great time with that.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, the American Airlines Center is a pretty good sized arena. I mean, I'm surprised that New Japan. I mean, they haven't sold out yet, but I'm surprised that they were willing to book an arena of that size.
Yeah, I mean that's a big task there to try and fill up that building for sure. I mean, it's even bigger than the Cow Palace.
Yeah, and also the main event will be. It's a pretty big deal. It's the Rainmaker Okada against Hiroshi Tanahashi. So, I mean, I can't wait to see that match live. I never thought I'd see that match live.
Yeah, for sure. That'll be a clinic.
As well as Kenta and Kota Ibushi.
Sounds good. So what's your question?
So I really enjoyed the G1 Climax. It definitely does bring a more sports feel to it. And I'm just wondering, do you think maybe wrestling promotions in the West, i.e. America, do you think that they could pull off something like this? Or is this just an Eastern wrestling type of deal?
Well, that's a great question. And I think AEW is going to try to go in that direction and try to give their product more of a sports feel. And again, the jury's out on everything. Like, we're really in uncharted waters with all this. AEW is a startup company, and they already got a television deal. And I think that the key to AEW's success is being different from WWE, because that's what people want. They want an alternative. They want something different from what WWE is presenting. So if that means giving the show a more sports-like feel, then I think that's something they should definitely try to do and see what works and what doesn't. You don't know what's going to work or not until you actually give it a shot and you try something different. But yeah, I could definitely see AEW doing that, and we'll see if they can find long-term success with that formula. But I definitely see AEW trying something like that. And by the way,
I totally agree.
Real quick before you finish your thought here, Carlos Gomez just sent in a $10 super chat. So Carlos Gomez is the brand new NoDQ 24/7 champion of the world. And I will answer his question here in just a minute. So Dylan, any other thoughts on that and anything you would like to plug or promote?
Well, I'd just like to say, yeah, I agree with what you said. I think AEW should do something like a round robin tournament, definitely. And speaking of AEW, someone called in earlier about Jim Cornette complaining about the matches being too much of a spot fest.
Right.
I strongly disagree. I mean, if anyone out there thinks that because I've seen both Fyter Fest and Double or Nothing, and the match between Cody and Goldust, like that wasn't a spot fest, and that was the match of the night at Double or Nothing.
Right. And it's all about the variety. I mean, you got something for everybody. If you don't like guys doing a lot of high spots, well, guess what? You got Cody and Dustin. They're doing an old style match with just focusing on the storytelling and the blood and whatnot. So there's different ways to tell a story, you know?
Yeah, I think that's just people, because it seems like every match outside of WWE is a spot fest, which that's just a blanket statement. I mean, clearly, if you think that all matches from AEW are spot fest, then clearly you're not watching the shows.
Right.
I remember people said the same thing about New Japan. Who was it? Was it Bruce Pritchard that said that, well, in New Japan, they focus on spots, and in WWE, we tell stories, which I totally disagree with. If anything, it's the other way around nowadays.
Right. And again, it's all about having a good balance and just not doing too much of one thing. And AEW is definitely doing different things. So to me, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I think it's an overall entertaining show. Like, if it was me personally, if I was going to put together a wrestling card, I would want to have as much variety as possible. I don't want people to get bored with it. I want to keep it fresh and change things up and do some different things. You know, if you like watch any kind of, like if you go to a rock concert, you don't want to hear the same song over and over. You maybe want to hear a faster paced song and then maybe a ballad and maybe something in between. You want some variety. You don't want to hear the same song over and over and over again. At least that's just how I feel about it. You know, I'd like to see some variety.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's why I could never really get into Ring of Honor, because it felt like all of the matches were trying to be 5-star classics, which to me, that just gets boring after a while. I think AEW is doing the right thing. They're having a variety of matches. I'm in the minority when I said that I actually enjoyed the Michael Nakazawa and Jabali match. I thought it was pretty entertaining. Now, do I think they should do that type of match on every card? No, I don't. I think a match like that should only be used in moderation.
Absolutely. Very well said there, Dylan. All right, I got another person calling in, so you want to go ahead with your plugs, or you got anything you wanted to close with? Oh,
right, yes. Real quick, yeah, my YouTube channel, Dylan Hensley, and then just follow me on Twitter at R_Dylan_Hensley, and that's all I got to promote. Thank you so much, Aaron, for taking my call.
All right, not a problem. Have a great night, my friend.
All right, you too. Thank you.
All right, take care. All right, we got Kanem calling in. Kane, how's it going?
Oh, hello?
Hey, can you hear me? You there?
I can hear you. It's just a bit loud for me.
So what's on your mind, my friend?
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
I just wanted to get your thoughts on. So I've been watching some past match, like Battle Royals and Royal Rumbles, and something that's like one of my biggest pet peeves is when a heel goes outside of the ring and then he's the only person that does it. Oh man. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Sorry, my bad. And he's the only person that does it. And so I got thinking of like other things that are like pet peeves that to me make no sense in wrestling. Another one being like, how come the announce table counts as a non-DQ, but or someone with it counts as a DQ? Just stuff like that. And I wanted to get your thoughts on some like of your biggest like pet peeve. It'd be cool if you made a video on this, but I'm like, this is fine. I just want to know what are some of your biggest pet peeves in wrestling or things that just don't make sense to you.
All right, well, it does say poor connection here, so I apologize if I lose you here, but I will answer your question. Where do I begin on that? I mean, there's just so many things that just get on my nerves. I mean, the contract signings has to be at the top of the list, and the format where they do a singles match and then it gets ended in a DQ right away. People run out and then they have a commercial and then they turn it into a tag team match. And just in general, when they do the same thing every week, it kind of gets on my nerves a little bit. Just opening the show the same way every week with like the 15-20 minute promo. Like I love this week when they did the Heyman angle with Braun Strowman and and Bobby Lashley. Like, that was great because it was something different. I don't like when it's the same opening format every single week, and there's lots of little things. Oh, how about this for a pet peeve? The shaky camera angles where they zoom in and out constantly. Like, I hate those.
Oh man, yeah, that was pretty bad.
Like, it bugs me so much. Like, it doesn't make it more impactful to me when you do that. Like, it just gives me a headache. Like, I'm not
Motion
a fan
sickness,
of it.
Yeah.
So that's up there too. But yeah, there's quite a few things for sure. And I think the announcers, like, having to say the nicknames every single time somebody comes out. Michael Cole's like the big dog Roman Reigns, or it's boss time, like every single week, sometimes twice a week, because people are doing the wild card. That just bugs me too. So yeah, there's a huge list. That would be a great video though, just like a laundry list of all the pet peeves in wrestling. So thank you for that idea. I may do a full video on that at some point.
I would love to see it.
All right, well, thank you so much for the call. Anything you would like to plug or promote?
Not really much. Love from California. That's about it.
All right, thank you so much. Have a great night, my friend.
See you, Aaron.
All right, take care. All right, so I wanted to answer Carlos's question. Carlos sent in the $10 super chat, so he is now the reigning and defending No DQ super chat champion. He says, Lita or Trish Stratus, discuss below. I preferred Lita because she was totally different, while Trish was another blonde, but she was great and became an all-time legend. It's a tough one. Well, I think I got to go with Trish overall, just because I think she had a little bit more star power, and I think that she was really like the face of the women's division. Lita did some great stuff as well, but she was also more of a supporting player. You know, she would be there with the Hardys, and she never really carried the division. Now, maybe she could have at some point, but it was pretty much Trish that was like the female Stone Cold of the women's division at that time. And I think she was like the sentimental fan favorite. And yeah, probably because she's blonde, the fans maybe saw her as a little bit more appealing as far as eye candy goes. But Lita was hot too. So, you know, Lita was right there behind Trish. I mean, they were right there like Austin and Rock as far as the women go during that era. But it's a tough call. Boston Punk goes with Lita. And maybe you guys in the chat room can give your thoughts as well. Like, who would you go with as the overall bigger entity? Power Packers 90 is calling in, so let's go ahead and answer this call from Power Packers 90. Real quick, before I get to your comments and question, the Gameson 100 just sent in a $6.76 super chat donation. So congratulations to the Gameson 100 for being the brand new, reigning, and defending No DQ Super Chat champion. And I will answer his question here in just a few minutes. So, Power Packers 90, what's on your mind, my friend?
I've just been watching a lot of old WCW Monday Nitros on the network recently, and I gotta say, I wouldn't really mind if Eric takes over. I mean, a lot of those old Nitros are better than what Raw and SmackDown are right now.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's fun to watch those old shows, and just it's a nice atmosphere because the fans are just so into everything. I mean, they were really passionate fans. Like those Nitro crowds were extremely hot, and they would react to a lot of stuff on the show, not just the main event stuff. And it just had like that party vibe, like WWE did too. But yeah, both companies had that fun atmosphere. And I was even watching a Nitro from '97 with DDP being attacked by the NWO, and then Sting's coming down from the rafters on the cable, and then he's picking up DDP and literally taking DDP back up with him into the rafters. Like that was just so fun to watch. And they had this huge brawl with the NWO and WCW guys, and the bell was ringing constantly, and it felt like the show was completely out of control, and it was just so fun to watch. So yeah, it is fun to go back and watch those old shows, because you just don't get that kind of atmosphere much these days. You know, AEW is the closest thing to that, you know, with the fans really getting into the show. But yeah, like with most WWE shows, the crowd just, they're very predictable with their reactions. You know, they'll do the "this is awesome" and "fight forever" and whatnot. So yeah, I agree. It's fun to go back and watch those old Nitros for sure.
Yeah, like I'm watching it, and you had like stuff like Glacier and like the Chucky dolls and stuff like that in the show. But at the same time, they kind of went for the more like we're more realistic. WWF is, Doink the Clown versus Duke the Drowser. Where here you're gonna get like Hogan versus Flair and Sting, up in the rafters, and Goldberg, murdering everybody. You had more of a this is real. Their kid stuff. We're more of actual sport athletics, and we heard Fox wanted to be, this is more going to be played off like a real sporting, athletic, fighting, combat sport. So watching that with the old Nitro, I'm like, oh, I can see now why they hired Eric for it.
Right. Well, now, so going back to that last call with Dylan, it might be interesting if WWE had SmackDown more like a sports presentation than Raw. Because as I said earlier, like I think part of the key to Raw and SmackDown succeeding with Heyman and Bischoff is making the shows different. And really, that's what the brand split has needed for so long. They need to feel like they're two different shows from two different companies. And I think having SmackDown more like a sports show compared to Raw would be good for WWE. And that could be one way to combat AEW as well, if that's something that they were considering doing, like trying to make it more like New Japan and make it more like a sports presentation. Like if WWE did that with SmackDown, you still got Raw. You could still make Raw the sports entertainment show and have the stuff, more of the stuff that we're used to from WWE, but change it up with SmackDown. Why not? What do you have to lose?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been saying this online for the last couple of days once Raw went off the air. I think it's obvious that a lot of the stuff with the Bischoff and the Heyman and them getting a little more edgier with the Maria pregnancy reveal on the show and, Lashley and then the middle finger from Kofi. I think this is all kind of like break glass in case of emergency. It's like, oh crap, AEW actually is getting steam. Oh crap, Seth Rollins is kind of like a jerk on Twitter. Oh crap, the attendance and ratings are down. What do we do? Edgy and bring in Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff. Like I think that's what it was.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how long it lasts. I mean, look what happened with the so-called "We Are the Authority." That didn't last too long.
I called it when they said that. I give it 2 weeks.
Yes.
And like 1 week later, Vince is dressed up like Santa, doing filler matches again. I'm like, wow, you couldn't even last the 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah. And they say like Eric Bischoff's not going to be on television as a character. Yeah. How long is that going to last? Like,
they said the same thing on Paul Heyman too, but I'm like, he's the advocate for Brock Lesnar. He's going to be. He might not be the boss like GM Paul Heyman, but he's still going to be on.
Right.
He's still going to put himself and Brock on TV.
Right. But the funny thing is, like, if the ratings don't go up right away, I could see Heyman and Bischoff becoming the on-screen GMs, and WWE is going to get desperate. And they're like, well, we got to get Bischoff on TV every week to get the ratings up. So, yeah, well, I'll believe that when I see it, that those guys aren't going to be actual authority figures. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyways, thank you so much for your call. I'll let you finish your thought, and then if you have any plugs, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, yeah, I would expect like a month or two from now to have Undisputed Era air guitaring with Eric Bischoff on Harleys on SmackDown. So I'm fully expecting that.
Yeah, me too. All right, well, thank you so much for the call. Any plugs?
Just for everybody else that had a happy 4th of July. I mean, I just woke up because I still got a hangover from last night. So happy late 4th of July to everybody. And also for that belt, I'm coming back for it. The Heartbreak James is coming for it. So anybody who has the belt now, be worried.
Well, the Gameson 100 was the champion, but now we have a new champion. But I'll comment on that in a second here. I'll let you go. I'm going to answer this call from Boogeyman79. Thank you so much for the call. All right, that was Power Packers. All right, Boogeyman79, before I get your comments here, we have a brand new No DQ Super Chat champion. His name is Carlos Gomez with a $5 Super Chat. So congratulations to Carlos. However, he says, I won the title, but I give it to Caitlin. He says, you deserve it. So Caitlin, you are the brand new, reigning, and defending No DQ Super Chat champion, courtesy of a forfeit by Carlos Gomez. And then Clayton Williams with a $2 Super Chat says, do you feel that Big E should turn heel soon? Yes, I do. I've been saying this for months now. I think that you should do a New Day breakup. That would be very entertaining, and it would add some real drama to the Kofi Kingston WWE title scenario. But my gut feeling is WWE is not going to pull the trigger on it, unfortunately. So anyways, Boogeyman79, what's up, my friend?
What's up, Aaron? I had a question. Do you think, with this whole the promos with Aleister Black, do you think that possibly it could be Bray Wyatt, the one that knocked it on the door?
Interesting question. So I don't think so, because Alistair doesn't need to be losing right now, and neither does Bray Wyatt. So if you book that match for the pay-per-view, like, how do you get out of that? Like, I just don't think that's a match WWE should be booking right now. I mean, yeah, it would be a really cool match, but save it for down the line when one of those guys can afford a loss, I feel like it's going to be Randy Orton. Like, I know that there was a report about them possibly feuding, and Randy Orton's not doing anything right now, so makes sense for him to slide into that storyline.
Yeah.
Randy Orton can put over Aleister Black. Orton doesn't need that win. He can put over Aleister.
Yeah, because I was thinking, because in a sense they're both dark characters, so maybe it would be fitting for like start a feud.
Yeah, and Orton can actually give him the rub and make Aleister look like $1 million. So yeah, I think it's probably going to be Orton if I had to make a prediction on it.
Yeah. Are you liking this whole 24/7? Obviously, you're doing the whole super chat 24/7. So I mean, are you liking the whole 24/7 gimmick going on right now, or is it like? Because the way I look at it is that if all the pro wrestlers, like, okay, you got like Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler, you have all the, and then I'm just gonna be some idiot running around chasing some belt because I get no TV time. That's how I look at it.
Well, I find it entertaining, and again, it goes back to some of the earlier questions. Like, it's good to have some variety on the shows, and it's good to have some comedy, and I don't see the problem with comedy. I don't think it's a good idea when you do comedy in the main event when people are supposed to be taking the main events and the main event championships seriously. But the 24/7 title, it's a joke. It's just for fun. It's comedy. So I have no problem with it. And I think R-Truth has done a tremendous job in the role. And Drake Maverick's coming into his own now. He's producing some entertaining stuff. He's getting TV time. So yeah, I'm definitely a fan of it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, R-Truth. I just love when he says like the 7-Eleven, 7-Eleven European TV champion. I always crack up and laugh when I hear that.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, R-Truth is good though.
He is. He's really amazing. Anything else you'd like to mention, or anything you would like to plug or promote?
No, that's it, man. I just wanted to call in. I saw you went live, so I just call, hit you up, say, hey, what's up, man? And ask the question about Aleister Black and Bray Wyatt. That's about it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the call, my friend. You have a great night.
You too.
All right.
Take care.
Take care. Bye. All right, so let me get to this question from the Gameson 100, who is now the former No DQ champion. By the way, to answer Caitlin's question, yes, I did print this out. I printed it out just before doing the live stream, so there's an actual physical belt now. And what I may do is I may figure out who's been the champion the most times, and I may actually send them this in the mail, maybe even sign it or something for them as a little souvenir. So something to keep in mind, folks. I may actually give this away. I know it's a little cheap cardboard printout I made here, but this is the No DQ Physical Super Chat Championship, with which Caitlin is currently the champion because Carlos Gomez, who's been champion many times, forfeited it over to her. So maybe somebody out there can pry it from Caitlin's hands, but you may have to go through me, ha ha ha, or not. Because all it takes is a $5 super chat donation to win this prestigious championship, the most prestigious championship of all time. All right, so I wanted to answer the Gameson's question. Hey, Aaron, why do people say we need TV 14? Personally, I think they can stretch the PG rating just enough to get by sponsors and stockholders. I think that people just want a little bit of an edgier product. They don't like the kid show, especially adults, But people need to realize WWE, pretty much since the 80s, has been geared towards kids. Even during the Attitude Era, WWE was geared towards kids. It's a kids show. Yeah, they want teenagers watching, they want adults watching, but the lifeblood are kids. WWE wants the kids to get hooked, grow up, have kids of their own, and have those kids become fans. It's an ongoing cycle. And I think WWE is strategic about when they change their product, when they go edgy, when they go soft. just depending on culture, society, and if there's competition, and now there's AEW. So there's all these different factors, and, wrestling goes in cycles. And I think we're entering a new cycle where WWE is going to push the envelope more now because of the circumstances. All right, so Mike B with a $5 super chat. Mike B has arrived. He says, cool belt, bro. Well, now, Mike B, this is officially yours. You are the brand new, reigning, and defending No DQ 24/7 Super Chat European Hardcore Champion of the world. Congratulations to Mike B for being the new champion. All right, and I got another question here from Kyle via twitter.com/AaronRift. He says, 25 years ago today, jury selection began in the Vince McMahon trial, and this was July 5th, 1994. He says, where would wrestling be if he was found guilty and sent to prison? Well, that I think is an easy question to answer. I mean, among the easier of the what-if questions, wrestling would have been way different, very different from how it is today, because Vince is the captain of the ship. Without Vince, WWE would have been totally different. I don't know if it would have been for the better or for the worse, but it would have been very different without Vince around. Now, I don't know if it will matter so much because you have so many other influences, Triple H, Stephanie. Vince is still the guy in charge, but a lot of people are saying, well, he's holding WWE back. It's actually Vince that is the biggest roadblock in WWE evolving to that next level and moving on past the tired vision that Vince has had of sports entertainment. So some people would argue that WWE will be better without Vince, but in 1994, I don't know, because WWE wasn't quite as strong of a brand in 94. I would say they're actually way stronger now than they were in 94. I think WWE needed Vince a lot more back in 94 than they do now. And Vince was a lot younger then too, so that's something else you have to consider. But good question there. Carlos Gomez with a $10 super chat. So Carlos is now your new, reigning, and defending No DQ 24/7 Hardcore European United States Super Chat Champion of the world. Congratulations to Carlos Gomez. And he says, the problem with me, the WWE roster is too bloated with talent. The company will need to let people go that want to leave. If I was in charge, my mind will explode with all this talent. Too much. Yeah, that's definitely a problem with WWE right now. WWE has so many people under contract and there's only so many spots. And ultimately, guys are not going to get used. It sucks for the guys that really want to excel. They want to be on TV. They want to do their thing. And they're stuck. They're just collecting a paycheck. Maybe there are some people out there that don't mind just coasting, getting a paycheck, and wrestling whenever they can get an opportunity to wrestle. But there are other guys that, like Jon Moxley, guys that want to creatively do more and they don't want to be held back. And there's probably quite a few guys in WWE right now that fall into that category. So yeah, that's what sucks about this situation. But I feel like things are going to change because for a lot of these guys, 3, 4, 5 years ago, there was no real alternative. Now, you do have an alternative. You have AEW, and they're paying people pretty significant money. And that's going to change the game because now guys, when their contract expires, they look at Jon Moxley. He did the right thing. He went out like a professional, and he got with AEW. A lot of other guys are going to follow suit unless WWE starts creatively changing things around. Although it may still happen anyways because of the fact that even if WWE creatively reaches a new height, you're still going to have guys lost in the shuffle. You're still going to have guys that are not going to be utilized because you don't have enough spots. That's just the way it is. So thank you for that question. And thank you guys for all the questions tonight. Great live stream. I really do appreciate it, everybody. This was a great live stream. Thank you all so much for your questions, your calls, your super chats. And it looks like Carlos is going to end the evening as the No DQ Super Chat champion. So thank you very much for that, Carlos. And no, Emad, I have never considered being a wrestler. Hold on, everybody. Time out. Mike B with a $5 Super Chat says, Swanton bomb to Carlos. And Mike B says, I am the greatest No DQ champion. He's the greatest. He's the greatest of all time. Mike B, your brand new No DQ Canadian, European, Middle Eastern, Japanese, Australia, every country in the world, Mars, Jupiter, Venus, the Sun, the other galaxy next to No DQ Galaxy. Mike B, your brand new No DQ Super Chat champion of the world. But wait a minute, here we go again. The greatest feud in No DQ Super Chat history continues here. Carlos Gomez with a $5 Super Chat says, damn it. So Carlos is once again your reigning and defending No DQ Super Chat champion of the world. Congratulations to Carlos. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes Uthman Rules with a $5 Super Chat. My boy from New Jersey, Uthman Rules. 10-time champion, baby. That's right. Uthman Rules. A 10-time No DQ Super Chat champion. And I'm not sure if I said that 10 times or not, but he is the 10-time champion. So congratulations to you, Uthman Rules. But then, out of nowhere, Walter Cruz with a $5 Super Chat. He is the new reigning and defending No DQ Super Chat champion. We'll see if Walter Cruz can keep his championship reign in cruise control. But it looks like he's already gone off course because Carlos Gomez with another $5 Super Chat says, damn it, ×2. So there you go. Carlos Gomez is once again your reigning and defending 24/7 European worldwide No DQ Super Chat champion of the world. Congratulations to Carlos Gomez. And thank you to you guys for making this stream end on a very entertaining note with all these back and forth Super Chats. This is really the craziest championship. I wish I had a shirt for you guys, but Pro Wrestling Tees did not approve it. I may have to get them done on another website. Get an official No DQ Super Chat Championship t-shirt. Mike B just sent in a $4 Super Chat, but that's only $4, so that is not going to be recognized as a new title reign. He says, I'm more than 10 times champion. I got to add up all the title reigns. I got to figure out how to do that. All right, well, Mike B just sent in another $5 Super Chat. So Mike B is once again the new No DQ Super Chat champion of the No DQ Galaxy and beyond. All the galaxies, the Milky Way, and whatever other galaxies there are. I got a D in science, so I don't remember all the galaxies. But there are a lot of them out there. There may be endless galaxies. The world may be endless. But one thing is for certain. One thing in this world is for certain. Well, next to death and taxes, Mike B is your new No DQ Super Chat champion. So congratulations, Mike B. I'm going to sign off now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate your viewership and support. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com this weekend for the very latest. Greg Cherry, I think, will be doing a stream on Sunday, and this championship will be on the line. So if you guys would like to send some Super Chats for Greg, you can also spend $10, become the new champion, and get a spin on Greg Cherry's Wheel of the Pen Cent and possibly win a free t-shirt. We just had more Super Chats coming in here, so hold on, guys. Darren with a $5 Super Chat. Darren says, don't forget about me, Aaron. I'm the champion. All right, Darren. Thank you for that Super Chat. And congratulations and shout out to you and your wife for being viewers of NoDQ.com and the NoDQ channel. Much love to you guys. But unfortunately, Darren, you always got Carlos to deal with coming from out of the corner. Carlos says with a $5 Super Chat, I always ask myself, what if Roman Reigns was Vince's top guy as a heel? Why does Roman need to be a big baby face? That would be a really interesting scenario. Like, so I think the idea, as far as Vince is concerned, Vince has always wanted that Hulk Hogan or John Cena. He always wants that superhero babyface because that's what Vince knows. You know, going back to his father with Bruno Sammartino, Pedro Morales, not superstar Billy Graham because he was a heel, Bob Backlund. Like, you always had the babyface champion as the top draw. So that is Vince's mentality. You know, going back, that's what Vince knows. And, you know, the heel champions never quite drew like the babyface champions. So that's why I think Vince always made the push to have Roman Reigns as a babyface, because of the merchandise sales and doing all the appearances on TV shows, you know, being the smiling, baby kissing babyface. You know, that's what Vince knows. And I think that's why we always had Roman as a babyface, and Vince was never willing to try his luck pushing Roman Reigns as a top heel. Noah Foster came in with a $5 super chat, says, "I'm back, baby," and he says, "Buy a shirt." That's right, guys. Head over to ProWrestlingTees.com, NoDQ.com/shirts. Search NoDQ on Pro Wrestling Tees. 20% off all NoDQ shirts. Unfortunately, no Noah shirt or super chat shirt, but you got all those other shirts on there. Pick up a shirt, support the site. Oofman Rules with a $5 super chat says, 11-time champion, 11 times, just like 11 from Stranger Things. 11-time champ on my 6-month wedding anniversary, baby. Congratulations, Offman Rules, on your 6-month anniversary, and congratulations on for the 11th time becoming the No DQ Super Chat Champion of the World. Noah Foster, the Simple Man, just came in with a $5 super chat, says 8 times for me. Congratulations, Noah Foster, 8-time champion. I'm very proud of you, my friend. Out of nowhere, we got more people coming in. This is getting crazy, guys. I'm losing my mind here. Ernie Eastman just came in with a $5 super chat, says, with a $4.50 splash to the Simple Man, Noah Foster. Ernie Eastman, simple as that. You're brand new, No DQ, Super Chat Champion of the world. But then again, it only lasts for so long, because the This Guy Experience just came in with a $5 super chat, says, "You never acknowledged my win on Tuesday. Damn, I wanted to call in real quick. Why does Vince keep mining from the past for ideas and making the ideas dumb?" All right, This Guy, I apologize for not recognizing your win, and I do need to get to these super chats here, so I apologize for not answering the call. Hopefully we'll do another stream soon and I can get your call in. Why does Vince keep going back to the past? Because Vince, see, people say he's a genius, but Vince, I feel like, relies on past ideas. Again, he goes with what he knows to work. And I don't think Vince likes to try new things unless it's absolutely necessary. I think Vince likes taking a concept that works, and he just likes to milk it into the ground as long as he possibly can until it 100% no longer works. Then he tries something else. Thank you for that, This Guy. I appreciate it. And congratulations on being the new champ. But then again, you got Carlos Gomez, once again from out of the shadows, with a $5 super chat. He says, Authors of Pain and Roman Reigns as a heel stable. They could be called the Empire of Pain. Holy shit. That would be an interesting concept. Roman Reigns, you know, I always thought Roman Reigns and the Usos would have been a good heel team. But yeah, Authors of Pain and Reigns would be a great team. They could be the muscle for Reigns. Like, there's so many creative things WWE could do with Roman Reigns as a heel, but I don't know if they ever will. Now, here's a sign that Paul Heyman would really have some power, or Eric Bischoff, if Roman Reigns actually did go heel. Because that would be a sign that Vince is giving power to somebody else. Congratulations, Carlos Gomez, on being the brand new, reigning, and defending No DQ Super Chat Champion of the world. But out of nowhere, ladies and gentlemen, Mike B, Carlos Gomez's thorn in the side, his main rival, comes in with a $5 super chat. And once again, Mike B is now your reigning and defending No DQ Super Chat Champion of the world. Congratulations to Mike B for once again becoming the champion. But hold on, folks. Oofman Rules with a $5 super chat says 12-time champion. But I give my title to my wife, Jenny, as a wedding anniversary gift. That's so sweet, Oofman Rules. Giving the title to your wife, I really admire that. That's really cool of you, Oofman Rules. I do apologize because we have Carlos Gomez again coming in and ruining such a beautiful moment. I mean, this title was for Oofman Rules' wife as an anniversary gift, and now Carlos comes in, crashes the special moment with a $5 super chat. It says all Samoans should be heel. Samoans are just badasses, so yeah, they really do work well as heels, but you know what? The Usos have done well as baby faces, and The Rock, you know, ultimately one of the biggest baby faces of all time, and he's done tremendous. So, you know, Samoans can work either way. I think Roman Reigns would be a great heel, though. I really do. Congratulations to Carlos for being the brand new No DQ Super Chat Champion of the world. And on that note, I will finally sign off for tonight.